Just dawned on me one day, like, what you can do on computers with the ability to sort of link stuff together is exactly what these theorists are talking about in terms of how language works, that things mean because they're linked to other things, and, and the way that language flows and the way that human beings perceive language and all that. And I started to think like, well, wow, I guess you could do that on computers and it would kind of be the embodiment of how this works. And I started reading around about it, and it turns out, well, other people had been thinking the same thing and been writing books about it. I started reading this stuff and I thought to myself, oh my God, this is going to be as big of a revolution when people start catching on to this as the printing press was. I saw the faculty that were here at UB and I knew, like, this is the place that, this is where I should be. So when this doctoral program was developed, I thought, perfect, this is exactly what I want to do, and that's how I got here. The things I remember the most are the discussions I had with the people I was in class with, that just like really getting immersed in stuff. And I think the thing that I always really loved too was feeling like I was part of kind of a family here, because I'd walk in and it was a small enough program that everybody was like, oh, hey, Sean, how you doing? First class I ever had here was this class called The Digital Economy that Neil Kleinman taught. And it sounds like it's a more boring class than it was. It really was about sort of reading about how all of this is kind of changing the world, changing business, changing things. And, it was the first class I'd ever had in my life that it would be over in, I think it was 3.5-hour class, and we would all just sit there and just keep talking. Like everybody was sort of engaged in this process of like building something new and the discovery of this thing at the same time. I mean, it's more of a kind of just the general overall experience and the small feel of things that I really remember the most. I think that what we have been evolving through has actually been people thinking too much about the technology and not about the people behind that technology, because technology changes really, really quickly, but people change very slowly. Then you look at things like how newspapers are having a hard time right now adapting themselves to the internet. It's because they haven't really understood yet how the internet as a medium is different than the print medium. It's not just, hey, we'll take the newspaper and we'll put it online. There's stuff that they can do online that newspapers never could, but they're not really taking advantage of it yet. Television is like that too. There's an emotional thing that happens with a moving image that does not happen on a website, no matter what you do. I have yet to come to a website that's made me cry, but I've watched plenty of movies that do that. And so there's a role for the website, there's a role for email, there's a role for all of that. And a lot of what I do now is try to help people figure out, well, how are we going to connect across all these different touch points to get people the right message through the right medium at the right time? The idea of the internet being an equalizer, I think, is absolutely true, because really it's even more than that. It's really, I guess it's to kind of not use a totally straight English word, but a commoditizer, that everything becomes a commodity. My company works with a lot of colleges and universities, and it's amazing when you go into them, everybody says, oh, we're this. We appeal to this broad range of people. We have all these liberal arts programs and business, blah, blah, blah. Especially on the graduate side, when it's like we all have, graduate business programs and they're flexible and easy to get to, and, everybody says that. But then to really work with them and figure out, well, what is it about what you do that's different than what other people do? That's when you start to get there. And then you say, well, how can you communicate what that experience is to people in a way that makes people understand why it's different? Now we've kind of gone through this curve where it's all about, oh, technology, 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 and that obviously isn't going to slow down, but at the same time, kind of the curve of the importance of people seems like it's coming back into that. I mean, every time I've, needed to refer somebody here or ask a question or anything, even after I graduated, people have always been around to do that. But teaching is really something that I feel is a way to give back to this. And then basically doing anything, anytime I've been asked to, can you come help? Can you talk to this person? Can you help this person find a job? Can you, just maintaining that network. And I feel very connected to this place still. I still drive by here and I look at it every time. I'm like, yeah, that's UB, that's where I went.